You have a problem to solve, and there are two ways to solve this problem. The first is act like Hitler and dictate all the steps that the computer must do in order to accomplish these tasks. Instead, the other approach is to act like a king and you leave your slave to figure out the best solution to accomplish your objective. Welcome back, this is Andrea and today we will talk about neuroevolution of augmented topology. Shortened as NEAT is an algorithm that belongs to the family of genetic algorithms. These algorithms try to mimic the way how the nature evolved the organisms. Imagine for just one moment that you are a king and you have 100 slaves. Then you told them that there is a work to do, and once they finish to do this work, like any other peaceful king, you put them in a row and then you start to assess them. But why you do it? It's necessary because you will have to do again this work, but you don't want to have this quality of work done in this amount of time, but you want to decrease the time and improve the work quality. So you take your notebook and you start to write a list of your slaves with good action, bad action, and you score them. You see that in this list there are slaves that performed not so good, but did some action that is really noticeable and could help in future, so you want to keep them. And the question is, how can you fix this problem? Well, since you are not only a king, but you are a smart king, what you do is to group the slaves depending on the action that they performed. So you start to pick them one by one and you put them in a fence. On the fence you put a billboard and you write all the action that they performed during the work. But this is not enough, because you want to know which group performed well, so you start to score, to rate them, then you want to know the champion for each group. And then again you want to know the best champion of the population. Once all this information are down to your notebook, you have a clear picture of how you can pick the slaves in order to have a generation that is better than the current one. So what happens now is that you go one group at a time and you try to pick the best slaves. The quantity of slaves that you pick from this group depends on how this group performed compared to the others. So better a group performed, more slaves you will take from this group. Once you have the clear list of good slaves, what you simply do is the reproduction, because yes, you are not only a king, not only as master king, but you are also like mother or father nature that is able to make the slaves reproduce, and the child will grow up in just one day. Yes, follow me in this strange idea. There are three ways to reproduce. The first is through the sexual reproduction. This means that the result will be a child that shares the characteristics of these parents. This is done inside the group, and this kind of reproduction is used to keep the characteristics of the group growing inside this group. The second reproduction method happens exactly like the first one, but instead happens across all the groups, and this is useful because you can combine different characteristics and potentially could born a child that is really advanced. The third reproduction way is more like a mutation. And this is really interesting because the mutation allows to introduce new characteristics inside the population. After performing the reproduction phase, we have 100 slaves that are the actual generation, and then we have another 100 slaves that are the next generation that are the child of the current generation. So the night comes, and what happens is that the current generation take over and the new generation became the actual generation. And now you see that this is a cycle that will loop until we will find a champion that will perform this action in the optimal way. This is the neat algorithm explained, but now is up to you answer to this question. Who you are? The dictator that established the rule to follow in order to accomplish a task, or you are more like the king of the nature that you evolve an organism that allow you to perform the action in the really optimal way? Let me know in the comment below. Bye!